Thank you so much, the viewers of Hope Channel South Sudan. Welcome to our great edition of this program, The Youth of Today. And I'm your host, Arab Daniel, that I will be taking you over this program as we move forward. The Youth of Today program focuses much more on the youth, and as we look at the youth, not only within the church, but even from the outside hemisphere, that we can look for way how we can also support them. As it says that a church that is full of youth, the future deemed to be more bright. And a community that is full of also bright youth, their future also seems to be more dim bright. So it is very important for us to make sure that we invest much more in the youth, not only financially, but we can also look for way how we can invest them from the spiritual perspective, from also emotional perspective. And this is why today we are here hosting this program together with you. And I have in the studio my guest. Allow me to give this opportunity for him to also introduce himself. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, my host, Rob Daniel, and dear viewers out there. I want to especially greet you in Jesus' name. My name is Okwera George Bilingario, and one of the prominent youths in the Juba Central Church, and I am pleased to be hosted here by Hope Channel today. You're welcome.
Up to this time, you already know who we are with in the studio today. And allow me to remind you that our topic of discussion today is we are looking at the role of youth in the church. We have youth in the church, we have women in the church, we have children in the church, we have elders also in the church, we have also pastors in the church. But of course, all these categories of people have their own different role that they play in the church. So today specifically, we are going to look at what are the roles of the youth in the church. Maybe before we dive into this, Mr. Bligario, allow me to ask this. When we say youth, what categories of people are we referring to in the church?
Thank you so much. I think, in other words, you're asking who a youth is. And simply, in our context, we are looking at this young man, this young woman who has the zeal, who has the energy to work for God. There are elders who also have the same energy, but maybe categorically let us put it in a context of starting from the age of 15, and then it goes as far as someone can work for God. I can't put the age limit, but we are looking at an ability to work in the context of what we are referring to as a youth. Thank you.
In most cases, when people are talking about youth, there are people who only look at, the male from this perspective. And some women and also some ladies, they also tend to distance themselves out. So when we talk about youth, do we also refer to us, both male and female, or we are only looking from this angle of only male?
Thank you for that question. As I defined earlier on, I said a youth is a young man or a young woman who is willing and has the zeal to work in the context of our church. This can be, in both gender. A young woman is a youth, and then a young man is a youth. But now, in the church context, sometimes we don't put much effort in gender roles, but generally, when Jesus was commissioning his apostles and the disciples, say, go, he did not categorize who should go. As long as you are willing to move on with the call, yes, you become part of the workers, and then you move on with his words. So in this context, we are saying that youths are both male and female. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I hope from today onward, no one will distance themselves from here. You already know who that is. Thank you so much for that great elaboration, Mr. Blingario. Now, let's look at this. What do you think are some of the role that the youth can play in the church?
Thank you so much for that question. I believe if we look at the context of a church, we see several roles that are being played by the youth, especially when it comes to starting from Friday, just start from Friday during worship services, who are behind the preparation of the church, who are who are behind the preparation of every services here. These are the youth. So the youths are the igniters they are the igniting bodies that stir up every programs in the church. With them, every programs in the church becomes lively, it becomes vivid. In other words, they vivify the church programs such that it becomes worth the situation becomes worth praising, the context of the church becomes actually lively. So in this case, we look at youth playing very important roles in the church by one, organization of the church that is put in their hands. And then two, sometimes youth play very important roles in our outreaches, especially the total members' involvement, the evangelism programs. They take the lead in this program. They are elderly people being the mastermind of the programs. But now when it comes to physical actions, this is where now the youth becomes very active, and then they look into it that every aspect of these programs are put into actions. And then in this case, you may say that, yes, the general organization at the evangelism sites, invitations of the people, and then giving out roles. These are things that they usually do in regards to the role play in the church that we are seeing. And then in many times also, these youths are the ones who also bind, or who are the uniting factors of the church members to the people out there, because they are the main people who reach out to the people in order to call them, and then they are the ones who have the wider range, or the wider scope of the wider scope of the friendship. So when it comes to invitation, they may have upper hands of inviting more people to Christ than the elderly people. This does not segregate the fact that the elderly people can also invite, but I am looking at the range of the youth based on their friendship that they build out there. You may find out that the friendship that they build out there is more than the friendship that elders or elderly people build out there. So these are some of the roles that are being played by the youth. And when it comes to the church building, you may find out that the actions in the church building are mostly taken up by the youth. They are the energy behind. They are the human resources behind the church building, and all these facilities are guarded by these people. And in this case, we cannot disregard the roles that they play in the church based on the resources that they put in, and reaching from one position or reaching from one place to another in order to get everything ready. These are the roles that they play, and brilliantly they play this role vividly. That shows to us that yes, they love what they are doing when it comes to this particular, this particular role. Let us not also forget the aspect of let's not forget the aspect of character building in the church. We have the youth ministry that builds up youth's character, the characters of the young people, the life skills of the young people. And who are behind this? They requested for it. And for their request, the elders have to give in order to build them up. So in this case, the youth here do not only build their characters for the life skills inside the church, but they also build these characters for life skills outside the church, such that when they get out there, they portray the Christ-like image, they portray the image of Christ in such that, yes, people seeing this image, they turn to Christ. And these are roles that they play. When it comes to the aspect of preaching the gospel, the youth also takes a very strong benchmark in doing this, because they are the ones who are taking this message out, and they are the people who can actively reach out to people to preach the three angels' messages. And in this case, you may find out that the core of faithfulness is found in the youth, because they are the ones who portray it out there. And then in most cases, the communities around, the people around who are not in the church look up to them. Most times they set good examples to the people out there. That shows, yes, these are children of God, and they play, and this in turn plays a very big role, an important role in the outreach and the preaching of the gospel through their actions, through whatever they do, and through the portrayal of their characters out there. And these are some of the roles that we see the youth playing in the church today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blegario, for that elaborate explanation that you were giving us regarding the in-depth role that youth can play also within the church. As I mentioned early on, that different categories of people in the church, beginning from pastors, coming to elders, coming to women, they have also different roles that they are playing. And today we are having our guest here who is giving for us more details on this. Let us also try to look at what do you think are some of the importance of engaging youth in church activities?
Thank you. When you were following what I was saying in the beginning, I said clearly that the youth are the benchmark of all programs in the church, and without the youths, we see no progress moving on. And this is why today the youth have their cliques where they put themselves together for a common purpose, and then they work together. So one thing is the unity of the youths help so much in making the message go wider and further than where we are currently. And then if when we look at the context within the church, involving the youth is very important, because one, they are the main actors in the line of worship, and when it comes to the church organizations, the youth are the main one who are putting all these things in place. Look at music ministry. Our music ministry in South Sudan is 99% taken up by the youth. And then the music ministry actually in the church becomes one of the core aspect of evangelism today. When they organize and go out there, you see people turning up to come and see what Christ is doing through music to the people of the church. So involving these people makes the gospel reach wider and then further than what we think or where we may think. So involving the youth is very important, because they make things happen. They make things go further than where we are. And these are two major and most important aspect of this involvement today that we are looking at. Another importance of involving this youth is we are looking at bridging the intergenerational gaps. We are looking at the wider gap that is created. If we look at our church today, if we look at our community today, you may say that most actions, most activities are being performed by the youth. And then in the response to accountability, they bring the elders closer to them such that they also guide them. And what does this tell us? That yes, the youth act in between the gap that has been created. The youth have the ability to involve the children in this ministry. They have the children to involve themselves, the youth also, in the ministry. And also they have the ability to involve the elderly people in this ministry. So by all this, you may find out that the intergenerational gaps are being bridged and everyone gets involved. And when it comes to total membership involvement, this is what we are talking about. So these roles can only be played by the youth, not the elders, not the children. The youth are playing a middle ground to involve everyone, and that is one important role that we don't need to forget here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You touched part of the point, the question that I would like to ask you also here. I wanted you, if you can identify at least one of the youth-led projects that managed to, win and end successfully. And one of it you mentioned about TMI, which happened. Is there any other one that you would like to mention apart from TMI?
Months later, the youth in the church here organized what we call the Ida Sawa program that aimed at bringing together everyone to put hands together to raise funds for the building of the mega church of Juba Central Seventh-day Adventist Church. And this went successfully because we have realized quite a number of people coming in to give in their support in the response to these calls. And though this project has not yet ended, I believe that is not one-off project. But we are still experiencing more other projects coming in where the youth are involved. And in many cases, when any fundraising is organized here, when the youth are involved in, I see successes in all these programs. So this is one thing or one youth-led project that I have seen has made the church somewhere a step ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blegario, for that great answers. Let's also try to look at the strategy. When we talk about youth, these are people who grew up and are coming from different and diverse cultural background. So let's try to look at some of this strategy. How can the church leaders, engage and empower this youth in the church?
Thank you so much for that question. It is one of the sensitive questions that we always ask. And this requires us to check the relationship between the youth and then the elders. Most times, the good thing I've seen in our church today is that the elders do not take the entire responsibility of the church activities upon themselves, but they always involve the youth. And how do they involve these youth? We are looking at some aspects of one. The elders were able to build a very strong and mutual relationship between them and then the youth. And then by doing so, you say that, yes, the youth feels that, yes, we are involved, and then we are close to our elderly people, and then this closeness makes things go, and we are putting our hands together. So building this relationship becomes one of the important parts of the engagement programs or the engagement strategies to bring in the youth. And then two, we are also looking at providing some relevant and engaging programs. One could be the music programs or the music ministries getting involved in these things. And then two, when they are involved in the organization of the TMI, when they are involved in the organization of the fundraising, they feel, yes, we are part of these roles, we are part of these activities, and then we are putting all our efforts to ensure that this thing comes into success. One thing with the youth is that they don't want to see themselves failing. And because of that, when you give them a role, they put all their efforts to ensure that there is success in the activity that is being given to them. And then by this, you are also offering them some opportunities to learn and then grow in this. So they take this positively. The third aspect that we're looking at here is empowering the youth through leadership building. The youth wants mentorship. They want their skills to be built. At one point, much as they can do other things, but the trust may not be that enough to perform a given duty. And in this case, the elders should be able to encourage the youth's participation in the aspect of their activities, and when they get involved and participatory activities, make them feel, yes, we are part of this, and then we are learning through this. The next and the last aspect here we are looking at is creating a welcoming and inclusive environment. When we give these youths inclusivity, the aspect of inclusivity where everyone feels he is involved, he is part of these activities, they celebrate their diversity. We are different. They acknowledge that, they are different, but for one single mission. And when they put all this diversity together, they see, or we see into it that they come to success of this particular program. And then another thing is also addressing the conflict, addressing conflict between them constructively, and to make a resolution from this conflict. In many cases, we find that when the youth are involved, or when youth come together, there's some conflict of interest. Some other things to do with the self-esteem may be vivid among them. But how do we put this clear? We need to get them involved. We need to say into it that all this conflict of interest or the conflict of self-esteem are constructively and resolutely addressed to say, to ensure that everyone feels that he is valuable or she is part of this community. And whenever we are being action-oriented, we are all into this together. There is no one who is left behind. So by this, we have, all the elders have laid a strategy to bring in and to involve these youth into the activities of the church, and they do it zealously because they are empowered. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear viewers. In case you join us from the middle, I would still like to remind you that in the studio we are having our guest, Mr. Kwera George Blingario, and I'm still your host, Arop Daniel, that we are taking you throughout this program, The Youth of the Hour on Hope Channel South Sudan. We are still moving forward, Mr. Blingario. Let's try to talk about this. What are some of the challenges that the youth normally face when it comes, to stay active in the church or getting involved in the church to also play the role?
A very good question over there. We have several challenges that our youth today face in the church. Sometimes this could not be the church itself, but it ranges. Sometimes these challenges are being inflicted on them by the people within the church, or sometimes even outside. But one thing is, let us start from out. We have this pressure from the community. Before this, I said earlier on that the youth connects the church to the community. And playing this middle ground, we see that the community also have influence in our youth today. Looking at the life out and then the life inside the church, sometimes they feel, they are being pressed down by their rights of engaging with the other people, some weird characters out there. And this sometimes drains them so much. Are we in a right track? And this is one question that a youth may ask. Am I really enjoying my youthful age enough to say that, yes, by the time I retire and then get myself somewhere, I've really enjoyed my youthful age? These are likely questions that come in the minds of our youth. But looking from the angle of social acceptance, yes, they accept the social aspect of engaging with the community, and this sometimes may lead or may strip them out from the church. Yeah, we are also looking at the academic or career pressure coupled with socio-economic instability among them. That also gives them enough challenge that we are seeing here. And then the question of faith also comes in. What does this mean? The youth are sometimes skeptical in accessing themselves. Am I really faithful? Am I that faithful enough to perform this particular activity? Or sometimes we ask questions like the balancing of faith and our doubt sometimes may not be very sufficient to involve ourselves into some activities. And then we also have some personal issues. This could be identity issues, and then mental or health challenges, or sexual purity and relationships. These are things that hinder the youth sometimes in participation in the church. Mostly some conflicts are being surrounded around our relationship, and when this conflict comes up, you may find out that one may not be able to engage because the person that they fought with at one point may be in the group, and this makes them a little bit hard to get them set together. Connecting with the church, sometimes engaging with the elderly people may be a little bit hard because of one, generational gaps, and then two, some churches also offer limited opportunity for participation to the youth, and then in this case, this youth fail out of church. And we have ever found complaints, or we have ever heard of complaints that the elders have taken up everything, almost we are left with nothing. And this is why sometimes youth go from church to church looking for better opportunity of engagement. And when these opportunities of engagement are not given, you may find out that at the end of the day, they run away from a particular church and they build their clique somewhere. And this may be a challenge to the church at one point. And then living in a secular world is also another thing. And this is through exposure of different viewpoint. Everyone comes with his personal points and then wants this to fit in. And in some context, it may be a little bit hard. And then we are also looking at, summarily, we are also looking at cultural pressures, or sometimes negative media influences, or rejection of spirituality. These are some other challenges that we see hindering the youth in our church to an extent that they feel that they cannot perform this particular duty. So there are many others, but the major ones that we're looking at are these, and when not properly addressed, they may hinder the youth. And when the youth are hindered, you may find out that the activities of the church and then the preaching of the gospel may also be hindered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okwara George Pelecario. What will be your last message to the youth, to also the church leaders outside there, in just less than 1 minute?
Thank you so much. We believe that the youth are still the backbone of the church. Whatever background you are coming from, whatever spiritual aspect you are involving yourself in, Jesus came for the sinners. And he urges you to get involved in this. He says, go into the world, preach this gospel. And this gospel can be preached through your actions, through reaching out to many people as you can. So in this case, let us engage ourselves with the people who may be in need of these messages, such that we will be able to also bear the witnesses that Jesus has commissioned us to. So therefore, let us go and conquer the world with the gospel of God.
Thank you so much. We have come to the end of our program today. I've been your host, Arab Daniel, together with our guest in the studio, Mr. Kwera George Blingario. And the program today, we call it the Youth of the Hour on Hope Channel South Sudan. Thank you so much.